opening and closing, closing and opening. My vagina is a flower, an eccentric tulip, scent delicate, petals gentle but sturdy. I did not always know this. I learned this from a woman who runs the Vagina Workshop. I learned this from a woman who believes in vaginas, who really sees vaginas, who helps other women see their own vaginas by seeing other women's vaginas. In the first session, the woman who runs the Vagina Workshop asked us to draw a picture of our own unique, beautiful, fabulous vagina. That's what she called it. She wanted to know what our own unique, beautiful, fabulous vagina looked like to us. One woman who was pregnant drew a big red mouth with coins spilling out. Another woman who was very skinny drew a kind of 7-plate Devonshire pattern on it. I drew a big black dot with little squiggly lines around it. The big black dot was equal to a black hole in space, and the little squiggly lines were meant to represent people or things or just your basic atoms that got lost there. I'd always thought of my vagina as an anatomical vacuum, randomly sucking up particles from your surrounding environment. I did not think of my vagina in practical or biological terms. I did not, for example, think of it as something attached to me. In the workshop, we were asked to look at our vaginas with hand mirrors. Then, after careful examination, we were to report back to the group what we saw. I must tell you that up until this point, everything I knew about my vagina was based on hearsay or invention. I had never really seen the thing. It never occurred to me to look at it. My vagina existed for me on some abstract plane. It seemed so reductive and awkward looking at it like we were on our shiny blue mats with our hand mirrors. It reminded me of how the early astronomers must have felt with their primitive telescopes. I found it quite unsettling at first, my vagina. Like the first time you see a fish cut open and you discover this other bloody complex world right on the skin. It was so raw, so fresh, so red. But the thing that surprised me the most was all the layers. Layers upon layers, opening onto more layers. My vagina amazed me. I couldn't speak when it came my turn in the workshop. I was speechless. I had awakened to what the woman who ran the workshop called vaginal wonder. I wanted to just lay there with my legs spread, examining my vagina forever. It was better than the Grand Canyon, ancient and full of grace. It was innocent and fresh like a proper English garden. It made me laugh. It was really funny. It could hide and seek, open and close. Then, the woman who ran the workshop asked how many women in the workshop had had orgasms. 2 women tentatively raised their hands. I didn't raise my hand, but I had had orgasms. I didn't raise my hand because although I had had orgasms, they were accidental orgasms. They happened to me. They happened in my dreams, and I would wake in splendor. They happened a lot in the water, mostly in the bath, but once in Cape Cod. They happened on horses, on bicycles, sometimes on the treadmill at the gym. I did not raise my hand because although I had had orgasms, I did not know how to make one happen. It seemed like a mystical, magical thing. I didn't want to interfere. It felt wrong getting involved, contrived and manipulative. It felt Hollywood. The surprise would be gone and the mystery. But the surprise had been gone for more than 2 years. I hadn't had a magical, accidental orgasm in a long time, and I was frantic. That's why I was at the Vagina Workshop. And then the moment arrived that I both dreaded and longed for. The woman who ran the workshop asked us to take out our hand mirrors again and see if we could find our clitoris. We were there, a group of us women, on our mats, on our backs, searching for our spots, our locus, our reason. And I don't know why, but I started crying. Maybe it was sheer embarrassment. Maybe it was knowing I had to give up the fantasy, the enormous, life-consuming fantasy that someone was coming to choose direction, to lead my life, to give me orgasms. The panic I felt, I knew it was coming. The simultaneous terror and realization that I had avoided finding my clitoris, had rationalized it as mainstream and consumerist because I was in fact terrified that I did not have a clitoris, terrified that I was one of those constitutionally uncapables, one of those dead, frigid, shut down, dry, bitter, apricot tasting, oh my God. Panic I felt. I knew that I would be punished. I lay there with my mirror, looking for my spot, reaching with my fingers, and all I could think about was the time that I lost my gold ring with the emeralds in a lake. I kept diving over and over, down to the bottom, reaching with my hands over rocks, bottle caps and slimy stuff, but never my ring. Panic I felt. The woman who ran the workshop saw my insane scrambling, sweating, and heavy breathing. She came over. I told her, it's gone. It's gone. I've lost my clitoris. I shouldn't have worn it swimming. She laughed and came over and stroked my forehead. She told me my clitoris was not something I could lose. It was me, she said, the essence of me. It was both the doorbell to my house and the house itself. I didn't have to find my clitoris. I had to be it. Be it. Be my clitoris. Be my clitoris. I lay back and closed my eyes. Put the hand mirror down. I watched myself floating above myself. I watched as I slowly began to re-enter myself. I felt like an astronaut re-entering the surface of the earth. It was very quiet, this re-entry, quiet and gentle. I landed and bounced, bounced and landed. I came into my own muscles, and blood and cells, and then I slid into my vagina. It was suddenly easy, and I fit. I was all warm and pulsing and ready and young and alive, and then I put my finger on what had suddenly become me. There was a little quivering at first, which urged me to stay. And then the quivering became a quake, an eruption, the layers dividing and subdividing. The quaking broke open onto an ancient horizon of light and silence, which broke open onto a plane of music and color and innocence and longing. And I felt connection, calling connection, as I lay there thrashing about on my little blue mat. My vagina is a shell, a tulip, and a destiny. I am arriving as I am beginning to leave. My vagina, me.